basically I pulled myself out of that horse shit and I said, you're being a fucking asshole. And I realized my place in the industry. And I think that's a lot of what we could talk about tonight to make good television. Is that I did a series of videos recently. I was kind of prompted to do it. And I really went back to my roots of this is the shit you got to do if you want to be fucking jacked on a carnivore diet, And I found out what people want from me. They want that shit. They want that niche of he's the bodybuilding carnivore keto guy. And he's about, who I want to talk to if I want to get fucking shredded on an ancestral diet. And I realized, okay, I'm going to go back to giving the people what they want. And, one thing that I wanted to say on the show is, listen, if you want to know the fucking science, the nitty gritty of this lifestyle, you talk to this man, Bart K. That's who I'd go to. But if you have any interest in the hardcore, in the trenches, blood and guts, of getting fucking ripped and shredded and using a carnivore diet or my version of that, then I can help you. And I think it's been good for my mental stability, just jumping back and realizing what my place is. And it's been liberating. And 3 years ago, I reserved carnivorebodybuilding.com. I let it sit there because I wanted to be sure that this was my path. And I said, fuck it. That's my evolution and it's my inevitability. And sort of I've landed with that. I've launched that website and I'm really going to dive in with both feet in what I do. And I think it's an interesting dialogue and we can go anywhere with that horse shit you want to go. And, take any left turn you want to go or any right turn you want to go. But that's sort of where I've been lately. And it's done nothing but serve me well to just stick to who I am and create that identity and hang tough with that shit. And I've had the best level of response on social media and on YouTube in the last month and a half than I ever have. And that was when I went back to being who I am. And so, if that has any interest to you at all, we can,
Rob, that absolutely resonates. And right now, because I've had a period on my YouTube channel of the last several months leading up to this week where I went, I want to do something a bit different for a while. I'm up to here with Who's Wrong on the Interwebs as being the only thing that I'm known for, the only thing that people will watch. The very thing I used as a hook to get people interested in what I was doing in the first place so that I could then educate them by subterfuge. So I can't bitch about it. I can't blame anybody else. I put that in play. But there comes a point where the negativity, the being critical with everybody all the time, falling out with folks who purport at least to be somewhat on the same page here and there. One young man in particular, that wasn't really over anything else except that boy unfortunately hasn't been raised right and doesn't. Right. That's the failing. I blame the parents myself. So if you're watching, well done. You two, whoever you were, whatever. Yeah, that's for another day. Anyway, here's what happened. Nobody wants to watch purely educational, view-sharing, interview-based channel that I'm putting out there for the last couple of months. Beep, This week, I posted, Who's Wrong on the Interwebs? It's Mike the fucking vegan again.
Which was great.
Right? Views are straight back through the roof. Comments are like, oh, God, thank fuck, I thought you. I'm like, well, it's returning to base. It's not necessarily returning to who I am, though, Rob. It's returning to who I am expected to be.
Right.
Based on the bed I made for myself on YouTube. So it's a real interesting area in terms of what motivates people to watch what it is we have to say and what keeps them watching, because that's what YouTube's is interested in. Once we ignore their known political leanings, biases, whatever, once we ignore the fact that they are actively promoting and demoting different channels based on their criteria of what they want heard, ignore all of that, and the metrics then become how many people are clicking on your video and how long are they staying there.
Yep.
Pretty much.
100%.
Because at the end of the day, it's a money-making thing, and they want bums on seats so that they can play advertisements to those people.
Yeah, and in a fucked up way, they're right. I mean, I did a video and I purposely, almost comically, titled it. It was legit information, but I said, protein fast, how to get ripped, jacked, and shredded with my top secret formula, or some horse shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
It went insane. It caught a fucking algorithm, thousands of views.
Yep.
I probably got 10 clients, 10 consultations. Everybody just, I'm the guy that, hey, if you want to get fucking peeled and look amazing on the fucking beach, I'm the guy, apparently. And okay, that's fine. I love bodybuilding. I love that whole lifestyle. I love the hardcore, aggression of that.
Mm.
And I kind of took a turn. And this is something I was going to mention in the show today, because what you've done has been so impactful in my career is, I was going to talk about, I kind of went off on, I was talking about sun exposure and vitamin D and grounding and all these things. And I thought to myself, you know what? They don't want that from me.
Mm.
That's fucking Bart, that let him be the fucking genius that can tear that shit down and make it entertaining as fuck at the same time. My wife was like, get your head out of your ass. People want to know how to get 8-pack abs, vascular, shredded and ripped. And they want to know how they can do that on a carnivore diet because they feel fucking great when they do that. Now, how can they do that and look as great as they feel? Well, I'm that guy. So I'm like, you know what? I'll take it. Fuck it. I will do that. And that'll be my lot in life, I guess. And I'm okay with that. So, it took me a year and a half through a bunch of bullshit to realize, get your head out of your ass and get out there and stand on your fucking soapbox and tell, 27-year-olds how they can get fucking shredded, eating steak and eggs and training their ass off in the gym. And if they don't do it this way, they're a fucking pussy. And they want to hear that, because if I don't tell them that, nobody else will. Mm. So, I think we're kind of both in the same place. And the other thing is that I'm still attacking the dogma.
Yeah.
Like I eat carbs around training. I do. And I can back that up with five or six reasons why I do that. And I used to be like, wow, it might not resonate. You know what? Fuck that. I do this and I believe in it. And if you don't like it, go fuck yourself. And I'm willing to say that now, because at the end of the day, the scant amount of carbohydrates I eat before a brutal fucking workout might be 4% of my daily allotment of macros or energy intake. But all people want to think about is those 35 grams of carbs. So I'm ready to stand up and go toe to toe with anybody and say, let's have a back alley knife fight over that if you want, but be warned. I know my shit. And I've been in fucking battle. I've been in a broken beer bottle fucking fight with this shit for years, and let's go, and people really like that shit. And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, man. So we can go wherever the hell you want with this shit, because, I'm coming out of a dark place and I'm in a good place and I know my place, and, let's mix it up and get weird and make good entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that you've hit on there, Rob, that's really a useful thing for us as influencers, whatever, people who are trying to hold the attention spans of those who may or may not have very wide attention spans, I don't know, is this whole controversy, this whole let's find something to take one side or the other on and let's have this shit out. My issue with it is that it seems now that because of the way society is going, that we have lost our ability to have those debates. We have lost that level of maturity to be able to talk to each other as human beings and to disagree without that turning into overreaction, emotional behavior, dissolution of otherwise good friendships to that point. It's the whole every child wins a prize, your opinion is valid too, even when it's not thing that's happened to our society. So, I absolutely salute a person who is prepared to take a position on something and to defend that position if needs be, as long as that's indicated. And to also realise when it's time to move on from that hill and go, perhaps that objective had its purpose, and now we need to move to the next feature.
Right. Or to say or admit that that's a valid stance and I should reconsider perhaps my viewpoint, and you've made an excellent point. Who says that anymore? That's rare. And nutrition is still the wild, wild west, man. We're still in the trenches, individualized, sorting this shit out as we go in real time. And not the same thing is going to apply to everybody. So it's nuanced. So, my position has always been, you can stick to your ideology that you've created if that's what you are earning on. My stance has been from day one, I'm going to tell the client what I think will work for them best to my detriment. I will. Certain clients may need more carbs in a physique competition, some less, some more of this, some more of that. I can't stand under some umbrella. If just to say this is my ideology and I'm unique in this space, I can't ever do that because it's going to be different for everybody. So, and nobody likes the answer, well, it depends, but it does depend. So we can give some scenarios and some snapshots and some bullet points and then try to expand on that to the best of our ability. But people need to understand that, Bart K says not 1 gram of carbohydrate ever. And I say I have 35 before I train. Guess what? I fucking love Bart K and he's fucking brilliant. Doesn't mean you can't listen to both of us and sort it out where you are with your metabolic, health, your level of training, your genetics, your goals. We can all fucking get along. I mean, it's ridiculous. But,
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, because the other thing that seems to be sadly lacking in today's society is the ability to contextualize a piece of information, thus meaning that that particular piece of information, the meaning of it changes from place to place, time to time, from context to context. So when I say the exact dietary requirement for carbohydrate, even if you are an athlete, on a daily basis, is not 1 single gram ever.
And you are right.
Exactly. That is an unassailable statement,
100%
absolute fact. Right?
And you just pointed out your position and you explained it, and I agreed with you, and minds would be fucking blown because we just came together on that over the absolute physiological, place that we were talking about. There is no requirement. However, there might be a place for a certain individual based on their goals, output, needs, etc.
Exactly.
So,
35, 40 grams of carbohydrates immediately preceding what I know is going to be a monstrous training session. If you're doing something with Mr. Goodwin, I can tell you that for nothing. There ain't going to be 1 gram of that carb left sitting around in that person's body after that.
Because you're starting that in already a depleted state.
Right.
You're engaging in high intensity contractions. You're absorbing every fucking gram of it. And I have this nuanced, protocol and my reasoning, the 4 or 5 things as to why I eat carbs around training. And that's it. And I've not found anybody who can argue it yet.
Exactly that.
And you may correct me on one, and that's fine. And I'll say, you know what? I hadn't thought of that. Good point.
Yeah.
But I can tell you why I do it and why it works so well with my clients. So,
I have no problem with that. And, my context is about what is required. What are the, what is adequate? What is required? What do you need? Baseline. What is most likely to be associated with the best likelihood in terms of our best educated opinion on all of that as to what will support health long term going forward? Utility is my third priority. And I don't really talk much about utility actually on my channel. I have mentioned exercise physiology and training and things because it is an area of expertise. But I think that area is like well covered by guys like yourself. And Coach Bronson is another great resource in this area, I think, just to give you a couple of names who are right in that, doing that. There are also some fucking idiots.
Yeah.
As I'm, there's nothing unique about that field. So it's fascinating to me to get the perspective of someone who's working from the context of utility, meaning your context for your clients is, how do I get jacked? Which is fine if that's what you aspire to. And there was a time in my life when I was after that and I had that going on a bit. That's not my goal now.
Right.
So, context, people, context, And I mean, I know science is all about dichotomous decision-making, accept the hypothesis or reject it, statistically significant or not, etc. But for God's sake, get some grey into your people.
Yep.
For goodness sake.
Yeah. I think all science, well, nearly all science should have an asterisk that says until further notice.
Yeah.
I just do, and because there's so much trust the science recently that has been exquisite bullshit.
Which is
so we have to be rational and logical to shit too.
Questioning the science is exactly how you do science.
That is science. Questioning is the science.
Trust the science.
And to say any science is absolute is the antithesis of science.
Yes, exactly that. So that's,
I think we're done here.
Well, I mean, if we've put the world to rights, sure, perhaps we have. I did get an email from someone this week, Rob, saying to me, you need to talk to Rob Goodwin because he's promoting carbohydrates online. And I'm like thinking to myself, number one, I know Rob reasonably well, and I'm betting $1 million that's not what he's fucking doing. So I hardly ever respond to such emails because I get so many of them. But I did respond to this one saying the email was like, Rob Goodwin was talking to Sarah Zaldivar and they were talking about carbs. You know how these things go. And
yes,
I'm like,
I was.
Yeah, no, number one, maybe they were talking about carbs. Number two, it doesn't sound like Rob to me promoting the intake of carbs. I don't think that's what he's doing. He's working from a point of a particular utility. He's found a tool that seems to work for his clients following his system being geared around, how do I get jacked?
Yes.
In which case he might well be right. I have no problem with that. So there you go. Whoever it was, I'm not going to pull the email up.
And anybody out there can put me to the test and I will talk to anyone about it. And 99 times out of 100, just by using sheer questions, I can win the argument. It's with high intensity training. With you and I agree on high intensity training.
Yep.
I do a consultation every week where I tell somebody I walk through a scenario of a high intensity session. And then when I walk through that scenario meticulously, and I'll get through that one super intense set to failure at around 8 or 10 reps. And I explain what that is viscerally.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ask them, why would I do another set? And then I just sit there and wait. I've yet to have anyone give me any rational explanation as to why.
Yeah.
No one has done it. No one can. Because there is no fucking reason to do another one if you've stimulated and put the growth mechanism into motion by reaching momentary muscular concentric failure.
It's that constant antagonism between intensity and volume that physiologists generally and exercise physiologists explicitly, ergo everyone that works in the field and listens to those people, they're always trying to balance those two things. And I guess what I'm saying to you is, you, the wider you, is that that's a balance they've got wrong in terms of the importance of the factors that they place on that. It is almost all training response is about the intensity, the stimulus.
Yep, 100%.
It's absolute value and not about how many times you do it so much.
Yep. Joe Weider invented 3 sets.
Yep.
5 sets.
Yeah. For what reason though? On what?
And it sold magazines.
Yeah.
You know.
It was.
And we're used to 3 square meals a day. You know, everything's 3.
Mm.
You know, explain the reason behind 3. Nobody can. And more is better. Well, more is better is a built-in guarantee, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
If more is better, you'd do 100 sets. You'd be in the gym 9 hours a day, 10 hours. You'd sleep there.
Yeah.
It's about creating the stimulus and then recovering and walking the fuck away from it and then feeding it and resting it. And that's when the magic happens. There's nothing more anabolic than food and sleep.
Yeah.
I didn't say weight training.
No, nobody ever got fitter in a gym.
No.
Because you damage yourself in the gym. That's the whole point. You walk out of that gym in a worse state than you walked into it. And if you don't, you haven't fucking done it right.
Yeah. Even one repetition is actually not optimal. Mm. You know, if you could figure out how to train without doing 1 rep, you'd be doing somebody a service, but I haven't figured that one out yet. So, you have to take a point, the set to the point of momentary muscular failure in order to set the growth mechanism into motion. And even the great Mike Mentzer one time said something brilliant when he was at a seminar, and one guy said, this exercise scientist says you have to take it to 80%. And then this exercise scientist says 93%. And this one says 98%. Yeah. And Mentzer calmly said, well, then if I go to 100, I've covered all 3. I've left no doubt that I'm going to set the growth mechanism into motion, because we know that compensation is recovery and overcompensation is growth. And overcompensation cannot occur unless the recovery mechanism is adequate. And you stop at the point when that has been stimulated, and we don't create a deeper inroad into recovery, which is detrimental. But, it's, crazy shit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, with all of that in mind, from there, for me, circling back, I guess, to the, what's been happening stuff, I've developed a message, I guess, which I'm now focusing on until further notice. And what I'm saying to people is the carnivore approach to human nutrition is absolutely the right one for you too, whoever you are. There may be some variation on it into individual wise, but base plan here is going to be good for you too. I think that's pretty much an absolute. However, it's not the whole answer to your health. It's most of it. Let's be honest, it really is most of it, your diet. But I've kind of come up with this list of 5 things that I think a person should focus on in the lifestyle, the average Joe. And it's all about keeping your chronic systemic inflammatory overburden to a minimum.
Yes.
Because, that is the absolute underpinning, the etiological framework, the cause of many, many disease processes that we experience.
Oh, you froze for a second. My apologies.
Not at all. Just saying that those are the inflammation is the absolute underpinning, the cause of so many secondary disease processes that people are experiencing. That's destroying their life quality and indeed shortening their lifespans. So I'm telling people that nowadays, look, yes, nutrition, absolutely vital that we get this right. This is my take on the carnivore diet. This is what I'm promoting. This is my system. You can listen to other people if you want to. It's your funeral, but here's what I'm saying. I've always said that. My message has actually been consistent the whole time. I haven't changed directions, or I've always said the same things, and I will continue to because it's still right, basically. But there are 4 other things that people need to take care of, I think, to get that inflammation down under the sort of nominally 5% threshold. So that's kind of where my channel's going now. So I've also adopted a kind of a context, this is my message, this is why I'm here thing, because I spent a couple of months, really wondering, why am I here? What am I saying online? Why am I saying that? Why do I have to keep saying it? Why is everybody so fucking stupid? And, those kind of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yesterday, I had a 90-minute consultation with a new client who became a client after the consultation, and I directed him to your website, and I cherry-picked 6 or 7 videos, and I sent him all the links, and he messaged me back today, and I said, this is the science guy. This is the guy I want you to listen to put all this into context. Once we start picking apart the nuances of what we're trying to do to help you reach your greatest genetic potential, because that's my job. And he messaged me back and he said the videos were brilliant. And, he watched the first interview that you and I did, and he just absolutely loved that. And, I do that shit all the time. And, when I had my sort of reawakening this year after, it's funny. I stopped competing in 2021, and I'm not a fucking IFBB pro. I'm no famous bodybuilder, not even close. I had some success. And I'm proud of the fact that I had some success doing a very low carb diet. And I went with a very carnivore approach in 2019. And it's 2019 where I literally racked up several class wins and did very, very well. And that became my identity. And when I decided to retire in 2021, the entire year of 2022 was horrific and rather unnecessary. But in my mind, it was like I was separated from my identity, who I was. And I had this weird identity conflict that if I'm not the guy on stage anymore, if I'm not the guy going through the throes of severe competition prep, then, I feel like an imposter. And it took me a year and a half and the death of my mother and a few other personal, serious conflicts in my life to finally wake up and realize, you know what, dude, you did that shit. You're a fucking old man now. Now utilize that information as a coach to be a better coach and push others out there who need that guidance to be better at what if their aesthetic goals align with the ones that you had, whether it be to stand on a competition stage or just reach their greatest level of genetic potential and so forth. So, and my wife, when you have the right, partner in your life that will pull you aside by the hair and slap you in the fucking face and say, get your head out of your ass, do what you do. And, we talked about it earlier. And then I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to talk about what the hell I know. Things that I know that I can stand face to face, nose to nose with any human being and argue that point to the death. And I feel very confident that in more cases than not, I'm going to come out ahead. And when I have that mindset, when I'm talking about those sorts of things with that sort of supreme confidence, I know that the repercussions of that are going to be massively beneficial to the person receiving that information. Yeah. So I've had this reawakening that, people come to Rob Goodwin because they want to know, how can I get fucking shredded on a carnivore ketogenic diet? Then hold on to your fucking skirt, Sheila, because that's what I'm going to do. And I'm loving it again. I'm enjoying the shit out of it again. And I'm no longer in an identity crisis. I don't have to be the big jacked bodybuilder on stage anymore to stand now behind the scenes and direct people toward that goal. And it's just been amazing. My client load has increased. The level of output with helping people has been enhanced for the better, substantially better. And I like this place that I'm at. And like I said before, if you want to know the fucking nitty gritty science shit that is a little above me, go to Bart K. That's what I did. But once you want to jump in the trenches, put on your fucking Braveheart war paint and get nasty, then I'm your guy, man. I'm your blue collar in the trenches, blood and guts guy. And I know my shit. And I tell my clients all the time, you know what I got really good at? I got really fucking good at looking goddamn amazing for 20 minutes because that's what it is. it's smoke and mirrors. You do reach an incredible genetic potential, but along the way, my job was to take myself and any individual that puts their faith and trust in my coaching and say, oh, okay, so 8 months from now, on Saturday morning at 10 a.m., you want to be the best you've ever been in your fucking life? Okay, we're going to do that. And so when I got on stage, people would look at my stage photos and say, Jesus Christ, you're so vascular, you're so separated, you're so ripped. And I say, you know what? It's smoke and mirrors, dude. I learned how to look that way for 20 fucking minutes because that's what bodybuilding is. And that's what you have to do to dial that in. So now I'm using that knowledge that I gained in the trenches for years and years to be able to reach out and help people attain that. And it's very, very rewarding. So knowing your place and doing it almost unselfishly or the passion of it, I'm back to that. And it's just been outstanding. And, I get that feeling that that's kind of where you're at too.
Yeah.
And I think Bart K firing on all cylinders is dangerous. So that's a beautiful thing, man. Beautiful thing. And that's why I say, hey, I told people today, I'm going back on my favorite YouTube channel today. You got to check this guy out, because I've been in this shit for 30 years and, discovered you just a couple of years ago. I'm like, okay, it's rare that you have the career that I've had. And then you stumble on to somebody late in life that is, revolutionary. So, and I'm not trying to, blow smoke up your ass, but, it's bizarre. We're having this conversation. It's kind of like we're on our own personal paths to rediscovery. And it's kind of a beautiful thing without getting too hokey about it.
Yeah. It's probably, we're a similar age, Rob, and it's probably that sort of middle of the lifespan thing that occurs and you start second guessing a few things and changing a few things around. For what it's worth, I think you're looking great, Rob. I think you're looking actually far better now as a retired bodybuilder than perhaps you did at times as an actual bodybuilder. It's not something that I think a person should strive for, an over-muscled physique.
I agree. I
don't think that's good for your health long-term necessarily. 100%. Something you should aspire to.
That's why I retired.
Exactly. There's a time frame on it. It's not something you do because you're alive. And, right. And it comes to...
It's unnatural. Yeah. It's unnatural. And I tell everybody that I interact with, bodybuilding is an unnatural sport.
Yeah.
And we're striving to push ourselves to an unnatural place in order to achieve a prize. And that's okay, because there's nothing natural about, professional football or, so many other physical endeavors where you push yourself to a point of over distress. And that's what bodybuilding is. And I tell people, when you're in the last 8 weeks of a bodybuilding prep, there's nothing fucking healthy about that.
No.
You reach near castration level hormonal output at that point, and you have to mindfully recover from that after the show is over. Now, I don't regret a single contest prep in that nearly decade that I competed. It was an incredible experience that I even missed to this day, and I'll take that with me to the grave. But I also understood and recognized that it was time to step away at my age because I needed to sustain good health. And I'm at that place now where I can be 200 pounds and lean and healthy and fit with great blood work and be able to, keep up with a 5-year-old grandson and still be a good example for my clients and those who put their faith in me and my family and my wife and my children. And, and I also have the ability in retirement to grow this thunder god beard that I have, which that was a big plus.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's about the important things in life.
Yep. Brilliant.
Like epic beards.
Brilliant. All right. I think we've covered a lot of ground, as we always do, Rob, because we are kindred spirits and we do come from the same place. And so that's not surprising. I want to thank you for your valuable time today. You are a delight to have on the channel.
Likewise.
I'd do it more often if we could.
I wish we could, yeah.
Tell us about your social medias and stuff so that everybody knows where to find them. No, they should.
Well, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited that I just launched carnivorebodybuilding.com. There's not a ton of content on that website yet, but I'm going to be updating it every day. And then I would be absolutely honored for your YouTube channel subscription. I mean, I'm really trying to build that, and I'm very mindful of building that presence as well. And, so you can find me out there, and I'm sure you'll be gracious with adding a few links in the show notes. So I appreciate that. So yeah, I'm not hard to find.
Excellent. Very, very good. All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. And we must organise for a Saturday afternoon, your time, coming up soon to do a live stream, questions and answers and all of that sort of stuff. So, in summary, you want to get ripped, you go to Rob Goodwin. You want the science, you come to me. I'm the science. Trust me.
You go to Bart. Absolutely.
I tell you what, you're not the only one that trusts me on the science, by the way. There are one or two others out there that when they have questions about science, they will come to me. For example, Ken Berry. So,
Yep. I can see that. And I will be consulting you further as we move forward in doing the things that we do, my friend. And I really appreciate everything you do out there. And I'm absolutely honored to be a part of it. And I really appreciate it, my friend. You're doing outstanding work and you're an amazing dude. I appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure, man.
Ciao for now.